Hey everybody, welcome back to the Rant. This is our 11th episode, and you know what? This one's going to be a comic episode. That's right, we're kind of lacking a little bit on the video game stuff at the moment. Not because it doesn't exist, but because there's too many of them at the moment and we haven't gone through them. So, this is our comic episode. Josh, say hi to everybody.
Hello.
Boom. Simple hellos are good. I was expecting an entire introduction, talking about your line of people going back to Kings, but you just said hello. It was refreshing. All right.
Short, sweet.
You really like that phrase, don't you? It's a good philosophy in life, though. I like that. So, what do you think? Should we just dig right in?
Grab a shovel.
Grab a shovel? Metaphors, man. Metaphors. Get used to metaphors. Alright, so first off, why don't we start with the new Iron Man series? You've read the first couple issues, right?
Yep, all three.
I haven't gotten to the third one yet, but still, I can talk about it. Well, in case anybody is unaware, it kind of picks up right after where Secret Wars ended, which Secret Wars hasn't ended yet, so it feels kind of weird to read something. You know what I mean? Like, you're reading material that is referencing a little bit what happened that you don't know about.
Yeah.
Why does Marvel fuck things up like that? I mean, seriously, does it not bother you at all that, like, all the new comics they threw out all reference the end of the Secret Wars run, even though it hasn't happened yet?
Yeah, a little bit, but, I mean, Marvel's looking at the paycheck, not the continuity, one would say.
Well, yeah, that is Marvel's way, isn't it? Let's get paid, put out the content. I mean, just a few months back when they were doing all those variant covers for the Secret Wars stuff, I remember a handful of them being like $50 variant cover versions. So, yeah, Marvel, I think, definitely is hunting for a paycheck more often than not.
Very true.
So you read the Superior Iron Man run that ended just before Secret Wars, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? Does this one stack up to that one? Now we are excluding the ending because everyone agrees the Superior Iron Man ending was just fucking bullshit. So.
I don't know. It's not as quirky as I thought it was going to be. Superior Iron Man, there's a lot of kind of like underlying jokes and stuff, and so far in this one it's been pretty much all business except for the few dates that he goes on throughout the entirety of them.
You do have to admit, though, it is totally a Tony Stark like storyline when an ex-girlfriend is trying to kill him.
Yeah.
That's just par for the course.
It was quite the surprise when she shows up on the last... was she on the last panel, the first one, or the second one?
I'm referencing Madame Mask.
Yeah.
Okay.
She
was mentioned as his girlfriend in the first one, and she's on the last page of the second book. And
yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Like I said, I haven't read the third one yet, so...
It's a little bit of a surprise. She's right there.
Yeah, it was kind of weird that they just jumped to that point, because to me it felt like they were setting up a chase kind of thing. Like you'd have to follow her around the world and try to catch up. And no, I just went over to her apartment. Yeah, she lives on Central Park West. It's easy to find. Like internationally wanted criminal, just has a regular old public address.
Oh.
So for you, the Superior Iron Man series stacked up a little higher?
Yeah, I did like it better. I thought it was a little bit different than what you're used to with Iron Man, because he's affected by whatever happened to his brain. Yeah,
I hadn't followed Iron Man all that heavily. It was it was like lasting effects. I think it was from a fight with the Black Llama. I think it was the character. I think it was called the Black Llama, but it was a character that did like psychic attacks and all that shit, and there was supposed to be some lasting effect, and that's what turned into the Superior Iron Man series, where he's trying to be a really charming individual to hide his like just total dick bad guy streak like right under the surface.
Yeah.
Your thin glossy veneer of nice guy, raging gooey nougat core of asshole. And truthfully, for me, the Superior Iron Man, up until that last book, it did hold up a little bit better than the new one. I kind of agree with you on that. The writing was a little bit more fun. It kept me pulled into the comic a bit more. But, I mean, this one is very early on. We're only on the third book, and Superior Iron Man ran for 9 issues? Was it 9?
Yeah, I think it was 9 or... Yeah, 9.
Yeah, I remember it being like an odd number, like they stopped before an even 10 or somewhere, but I don't know, so far it's not bad. Like the writing on that first page where he's talking about some kid from MIT like reverse engineered the Iron Man suit and then puts the plans on the internet. I thought that was funny. I was kind of smirking at that a bit.
Yeah, I read all 3 of them, but the only thing that really sticks out in my mind was the whole what's her name,
Madam Mask.
Madam Mask. Like that's the only thing that I can remember from it, because everything else was just kind of like, not building up to that. Like the Dr. Von Doom stuff and then the Madam Mask stuff is the only stuff I can actually remember from it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I pick up number 4, I'm going to be like, okay, what happened again? Something with a mask and.
Yeah, the lasting power for it is definitely not as strong as the previous run. I have to agree with you on that one too, because I mean, like I remember all of the first 2 issues, but that's also all I've read. I'm wondering if by the time I finish the 3rd issue, will it like overwrite the memory and like that's all I remember then, like the first one has fallen off.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot, especially with the weekly comics. Batman Eternal last year, I mean, there were so many different plot points. I was trying to remember from issue number, 6, and we're on issue number 30, and they just finally brought that one back, and I had to go back and look through them. I was like, what the hell? They're in Arkham. What the fuck?
Yeah, it is hard to keep it straight when they put them out that often.
And when they have so many different plot points that they just kind of forget about for a few issues and come back to.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like more and more comics are doing that.
Yeah.
Like the Justice League comic, I've already lost myself in the Dark Side War, and I've told Jeremy, this is probably going to be it for Justice League, because there's just too many pinging plot points for each character, and sometimes they don't show up again until 3 issues later, and you're like, okay, I guess the Green Lantern and Flash get back in the time, and this happens, and it's like, Justice League is a good comic, but the plot points are just all over the place. I just want a simple 1, maybe 2 intertwining, plot points is good,
Mm-hmm,
But when you start to pack on 3, 4, 5, it just gets to be too much.
It's funny. I just remembered your point here about the scattered plot points and too many characters. That's the reason why I immediately canceled wanting the new Spider-Man on my pull, because I read the first book of the new run of Amazing Spider-Man, and I was just like, what the fuck, man? They've made Spider-Man the entire focal point of these really far-reaching multi-universe deals with Spider-Man. Yeah. It's like literally there's 4 different people playing Spider-Man just in that one book. It's like Peter Parker, and now the worst part that really annoyed me is Peter Parker is now a really poor version of Tony Stark. In fact, they even use that line in the book. He describes himself. He's like, oh, well, I'm the poor man's Tony Stark now. Hence the other line about getting a suit from J.C. Penney's instead of getting it custom made or something. Okay. But I agree with you. It really does ruin a series when they spread the storyline out that thin, because they keep bringing in bits of plot and characters from all over the damn place, and it just doesn't make it fun. It makes it feel weird, and you lose bits of plot. Like occasionally there's like one bubble on the page that says something really important. It's like 7 comics ago that you need to remember that bubble from, because now, oh look, the character came back. He stepped out of the closet and he's been hiding there for like 18 issues. And it's just, it's weird, man. I don't like that either. And the thing is, Spider-Man was the first comic I ever read, so it's been my freaking awesome character that I stacked the standard against for everything else. Right? Exactly. And it's not that way now. They've totally fucked it up for me. Like,
and there's so many different versions of it now, too.
Yeah, it's endless. It really is. I mean, to be honest, at the moment, the one that I'm enjoying the most is Spider-Woman, because the Spider-Woman one, they took her from the Avengers, the giant, like, huge multi-book storylines, and they put her back down on the street fighting the individual little bad guys and saving, Joe Schmo on the corner from getting robbed. I like that. That was Spider-Man when I was a kid. It's depressing that they have kind of ruined Peter Parker for me. Now it's Silk, Spider-Woman, and truthfully, I'm trailing off on Spider-Gwen at the moment. It kind of feels like a teen drama now.
Did they also have it's like the Web Force or something like that with all the different Spider-Mans from different universes? And there's like Spider-Man 2099 and
Web Warriors, Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 2099. Ultimate Spider-Man. There's like 14 books for the Spider-Man universe now. It's, and then
he
much.
He also appears in like the Avengers now and all those other ones too.
He bounces all over the damn place. It's ridiculous. In fact, one of the little series that was running during the start of the Secret Wars thing, Armor Wars for Iron Man, it was like, the filler story they were putting out then.
Sure.
Spider-Man is in the first fucking book, and they kill him.
Oh.
Spoiler alert. It's weird. I don't... Here's the thing. You know how the Joker and Harley Quinn are like DC Comics go-to characters? Like, for whatever reason, like if they feel a book isn't going to go well, like they'll make a funky cover art version that contains those characters. Games too. They slap them on everything. Like it could be,
Arkham Origins, case in point. Arkham case in point.
It could be like the Flash, a character that has never really crossed over to the Gotham universe, and they're like, oh, we can tell this issue's not going to go well. What do we do? Why don't you slap Harley Quinn and Joker making out on the cover? That's brilliant! That's brilliant! Do it! It's like, that's what they're doing with Spider-Man now. They're like whoring him out and slapping him on everything. They're like, thank you, Marvel. You shouldn't have taken business advice from DC.
Right.
Speaking of ranting and raving, you were telling me about, what was it? Robin, Son of Batman?
Robin, Son of Batman. Well, I mean, the comic book isn't too bad. It takes off right after the New 52 run of Batman and Robin. Mm-hmm. And Robin just comes back to life, and he loses his superpowers, and now he's trying to right his wrongs in the in the world. And it's kind of weird. They kind of just threw you into the book. He now has a pet, like, flying beast. And the comic itself isn't terrible, but the one thing I'm kind of peeved about, and they've been doing it a lot with all their series, is they've been giving you fake covers, and then a week before the comic comes out, they put a different one on there. And it doesn't even say anything like, not final version or something like that. So the original one for Robin, Son of Batman number 6 was a black background with a character called Nobody 2, because in Batman and Robin, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet, Robin kills Nobody, who was a mercenary in Gotham who was killing everyone and knew Bruce Wayne's backstory. So he kills him. And his daughter comes back, and she finds out that Robin's trying to right his wrongs, and she's like, okay, I'll help you, and then I'll kill you at the end of it, which is how the first one ends. The first Robin, Son of Batman ends. And number 6 was, it was a black background. There were 2 crossing chains, which I guess signified Goliath, who was the weird man-bat thing. And then there's the Nobody mask that has like the 3 eye holes going slanted down. It's white. Then on the mask had a Robin mask on the top ones. And I was like, that's pretty good. It shows that everyone's working together. and it's basic, it's nice, it doesn't have too much going on.
Right.
And then just yesterday they changed the comic book cover to a yellow background with them riding Goliath, and I'm like,
What?
why? I liked the other one better. It was I don't know what was with it, but I liked it better.
That's just weird. Like, it almost sounds like somebody's doing cocaine at the DC office. You know, they're like so jazzed and they're ordering out covers, and then they crash from the cocaine, and they're like, oh fuck, what was I thinking? Make a new one.
Yeah.
That's frustrating, because I don't know about you, but a lot of the times, like, the cover art can really ruin a comic for me. Like, if it's a really shitty piece of art on the cover,
or if it's too busy, there's too many things
exactly,
on the front.
exactly. Like those giant collages that they like to do for the big universe comics, like Justice League and Avengers and shit, where there's like 15 characters on the cover, and none of them are drawn all that well.
You can pick out any comic book from the new Justice League series, and it's just the busiest piece of junk you'll ever look at. Because they're like, oh, we have to put every single... Here comes back the plot points here. They're like, we have to put every single plot point on this cover right now.
Yeah, because we want to make sure everybody visually remembers exactly what happened in the last comic, even though we're not really putting any effort into it. It's... Yeah, shitty cover art can really ruin it for me. I mean, if I'm already reading a series and I know it's going to be a good book as far as the writing goes and, like, maybe the artwork inside, because, like, they haven't changed artists, which that seems to happen a lot nowadays. They fucking change artists, like, every 5 books, which is ridiculous. There used to be one guy fucking writing a book for, like, 2 years and one artist working with him for, like, 2 years, and then they'd trade off. Now it seems like every 2 weeks, because everybody that fucking works at DC and Marvel are like rock stars now. I drew 3 things today. I need a break, man. I need a break. That one was only a circle and you kind of drooled on the paper. I know. The inspiration is amazing. Do you know how hard I worked on that? Like, oh, god damn it.
And they've done it with a lot.
I'm sorry?
They've done the changing cover scene with a lot of comics. Because I was looking forward to this one from Batman Superman a few months ago. It was like the final one of their one series. And it was pretty simple. It was just the new Batman on the front, and he was standing in a fighting pose. And I was like, oh, this is kind of mysterious. This is cool. What's it going to be? And I was like, oh, that's a good one. You know, I like the simple ones. Like, if it's simple and it just shows the characters and a little bit of the plot in it, it's perfect. But then they changed it to, like, you know, Aquaman's in the background killing something, and there's like a giant tentacle monster trying to kill Superman, and the new Batman's firing rocket launchers from his shoulders, and I'm like, okay, this is just stupid. And then last week's Batman Superman cover was complete garbage, and I knew it was garbage coming up, so I just got the Looney Tunes variant, and I'm like, I don't care, I'm just getting the Looney Tunes variant. This is a lot better.
That's terrible when you gravitate towards a Looney Tunes cover over the other art. Actually, a quick question for you. Is it bugging you as much as it is me how many variants there are for every comic now?
Yeah, it's been bugging me for the Dark Knight 3. Every day I go on Twitter and they're like, oh, here's, you know, a new variant. And it's been like, I swear it's been at least 50 variant covers. And I'm like, some of them are cool, but most of them are just like, oh, here's a new artist rendition of Batman. Here's another artist. Here's another one. Here's another.
Yeah.
Like, stop.
I mean, like, the only way I can figure that this actually is beneficial to anybody other than the comic, you know, production houses that are just bankrolling this shit for the obsessed collectors that will buy every issue. The only thing I can think of is, like, they're letting, like, maybe a new guy who just came onto the scene kind of show his stuff. They're like, all right, you can do the cover art for this, and if it sells, we'll let you work on the book. You know what I mean? Like a proving ground type thing. Right. But then it doesn't make sense to me for certain other comic book companies, like Boundless Comics. Oh my god, there's like 15 variants for every issue. Like, not even a special one. It's like, oh, this is book 2. There's 12 covers. Enjoy. And the pricing of it, I'm sorry. I know I'm getting a little pissed off and ranting here, but I mean, come on.
the right
Variants are supposed to be special, not a dime a dozen thing, and they're not supposed to be twice the cover price on average. Well, let me clarify. Boundless Comics, their base comic, like the standard version, is always $5. That's a lot for a regular comic that is usually digital artwork. There's really not too much hand-drawn stuff in there. Mm-hmm. And then their variants all start at like $8. And then the worst one is what they call the quote-unquote pure art cover, which, guess what? It's not pure art. It's just fucking black and white, and they want $10 for it.
Wow.
I don't get it. What is the weird thing with that? I mean, I do like variant covers, but there has to be a limit. I feel like 3 variants for any issue is a lot. You know, and I feel like if it's a special issue, like somebody important to a series dies, then okay, I'd make a ton of variants because you know it's going to sell and it's a way to recoup any losses. But come on, man, like every damn issue. I mean, just Spider-Gwen alone usually seems to have like 4 variants. Yeah, half of them are usually like in the $20 range because they pull out some legendary artist that they're. Like, I mean, I will admit, I did buy the $10 variant for issue 1 of Spider-Gwen on the restart, and I only did it because it was an art piece done by Bruce Timm. You know, the guy who's legendary for the animated Batman series. His art is awesome. It's got that weird kind of, like, 1950s futuristic look to it.
Yeah.
Alright, I have one more little thing to just bitch about real quick because it's Boundless Comics that we've been harping on for the last, 2 minutes, but Boundless needs to stop advertising for comics that aren't out yet. Like, multiple issues are being advertised. Case in point at the moment is the comic named Ember. I mentioned this, 3 or 4 episodes ago when I got my hands on, I guess it was issue 0 or something like that, the introduction, and I really enjoyed it. My description of it was, if Kim Kardashian was given superpowers and then grew a conscience overnight, you'd have the Ember character. So you can kind of guess that that's a little bit of a fun book to read. Point is, other Boundless comics I've been getting, like so many other comics, on the last couple of pages they have listings for all their other books. Like, don't forget to get issue 14 of blah blah blah. Look how many variant covers there are. They keep listing the damn Ember comic in there, and it hasn't come out yet. The issue 0 was 4 months ago. It was a testing issue, and they haven't put out anything else since then. And yet they're listing issues 1, 2, and I think 3 will be in the next book, even though it's not out. What kind of horse shit is that? Every time I flip through there, I'm like, fuck, did I miss it? How did I miss it? I go to the comic shop every week. What the fuck?
Right.
And then I have to kill 15 minutes online trying to find the damn thing and see if maybe they just didn't get it at my local shop, and it's like, nope, it's not out yet. Fuck you, Boundless. Fuck you pretty hard, buddy. Josh, take over before my brain cracks open and bleeds.
Want me to start a different topic?
Go for it.
All right, well, I'm gonna switch this over to Batman, the Batman New 52 run that Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo does. Awesome team. They've been doing a great job. And everyone's bitching about Super Heavy, which is the new quote-unquote Bunny Man Batman suit with James Gordon in the helm.
Oh, right.
And I mean, if you like, going back to the covers thing, if you like simple, good covers, all the Batman ones are good. I'll point out number 43, which is the one with Mr. Bloom kind of dancing in a field of flowers, and you see Gotham in the background. I mean, that's perfect. It's a great cover. It shows you there's a new villain on the run. He's coming in here, and he doesn't give a fuck. And so far, I am highly impressed with Super Heavy, but everyone else in the world is making fun of it. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just because they don't like the suit. Maybe it's because they don't like Jim Gordon as Batman. Maybe it's because Bruce Wayne doesn't know who he is anymore. I just don't understand where everyone's coming from, and all their points seem to just lead to, oh, the suit looks terrible. Oh, my God, Jim Gordon's 50 years old. He can't be doing this, blah, 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 blah. And
Whoa. Am I the only one here that remembers that Batman kind of played Batman into like his 40s at least? Like the original Bruce Wayne? Wasn't he like silver haired, like geriatric level when he finally was like, oh, I need to hand off the cape?
The Dark Knight 3 is the continuation of the other Dark Knight Return and stuff, and he's he's well into his 60s at that point.
Exactly.
And also, I mean, in Batman Beyond, he's even older. He's like in his 80s. He's riding around in a wheelchair, still kicking ass.
Batman Beyond, I'm a big fan of, and yeah, he was. There were many issues and episodes of the cartoon where like the geriatric Bruce Wayne who can't even stand up straight is beating the shit out of people.
Right. Well, anyways, so far I am highly enjoying the Super Heavy arc, and I know that Bruce Wayne's going to be coming back into the helm soon, but I kind of have a hypothesis on how it's going to happen, because right now, in the last issue, number 46, Bruce Wayne is he still doesn't know his own past. He kind of had to rewrite his own history, and so. What happened was he got a pill from Jim, and he's like, this Mr. Bloom's really difficult. I wish you were in there. And the pill gets stolen at the end of the comic, and he's like, "Where's that pill?" And you don't see it. And I'm wondering what's going to happen with that. And I'm tying it into Jim Gordon's like confronting Mr. Bloom right now. He's like all out going at it, and he had a really good sound plan, and they were preparing. And he finally goes in, and Mr. Bloom takes over his suit and makes it so that he has to fight his own suit, and that's the end of the comic, is him, starting the fight. So what I hypothesize is going to happen, either that pill that Bruce Wayne got, he's going to find it and he's going to somehow eat it and he's going to get his memories back, or he's going to, Mr. Bloom's going to be he's going to be getting his powers, he's going to be fusing something with the Lazarus Pit that was under Gotham, into whatever pills he's been using, because the pills that Mr. Bloom makes turns you into plants and plant forms and crazy things. Like the first one you saw, the guy was, I forget what he was doing. It was like balls of energy. He was and all of a sudden it wears off and he just dies, and it's like, oh well. But I guarantee there's going to be either something with the pill, or it's going to be something with the Lazarus Pit's going to come back, and it's going to. Mr. Bloom's going to use it to either, get Bruce Wayne's brain back in order or something like that. And I know what's going to happen, even though I'm liking Jim Gordon as Batman. I know what's going to happen because Bruce Wayne's a fan favorite, of course, and every time they try to put in someone else in the helm, they have to bring Batman back, whether it be Dick Grayson, Azrael, or Jim Gordon, or anyone in the helm. It always comes back to Batman because they lose the sales on the other series, and everyone starts bitching about, the bunny ears. And now they're even incorporating into the comic these jokes about the suit, and I'm like, stop, it's fine.
There's one point I gotta agree with you. I do really like the suit. I thought it was pretty badass looking.
Oh, yeah. And there's one point where he actually rips off his own little ear, and he stabs Mr. Bloom in the head from the top, and it's a freaking cool panel. And he's like, I knew these bunny ears were good for something. I'm like, you just ruined it. They need to stop listening to these idiots on Facebook and who go out of their way just to complain about things that they actually haven't read. Yeah. And if they actually read more than just the first 2 chapters of Super Heavy, they would know that it's getting to be very good. I mean, sure, the beginning was kind of shaky. You were learning about the new Batman and how he's going to work, and now we're back to it's Batman. He just has a suit of armor and he's a cop. That's it. That's the only difference, and it works. And there's been things in Detective Comics that have kind of been shaky. There's they asked Jim to join them on this quest to go find this thing that was eating humans, and it was really surreal and stupid. But luckily that's over, so we're going to go back to the detective work that was originally in the Detective Comics series for the new Batman. So it should be getting better again, because they kind of lost their way after the Joker's daughter came back and made a giant Joker robot, and I was like, okay, this is a little bit too far. And then they went to, we gotta fight this giant monster, and it's like, okay, can we get back to Detective Comics and get rid of this bullshit? So all in all, I think everyone's just overreacting, and everyone knows that's going to be Bruce Wayne again after maybe issue 55, I'm going to guess. because that might be the end of Super Heavy if it's a long thing like the 0 year was or the end game was. So I mean, only time's gonna tell. But I'm gonna be sad when Jim takes the cowl off and retires.
I hear you. Sometimes the new bits are just so good, and fanboys stand up and scream, and then they have to cut it, and it is always bullshit. It is always bullshit because people do just judge it based on it's not what they thought was their favorite thing.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've come across fanboys who, like, they can't even explain their level of over-the-top fixation on something. Like, they can't even give me a real reason why they're ranting and raving about something that they claim to love. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
Over-the-top fanboys and over-the-top fangirls are my biggest pet peeve in life because they ruin so many good things for me. It's...
Yeah, and a lot of these people don't even know how to spell or write common words. Like, I'm just scrolling through here, I see this one guy, he's like, read. I'm guessing he meant red. And, no, wait, no, hold on, it's read with a period, capital A, and I don't know why I continue to buy this series. Scott Snyder, I don't know what you want to do, but if I want to destroy the mist iconic superhero of all time, you are on the good way. Like, what's that supposed to mean? Like, you're not buying the series because they changed it? I'm sorry. Let me just wipe your tears away with the handkerchief of fuck you. I don't know.
See, that's what fanboys do. They make your brain hurt. You can't even think logically anymore.
Well,
I hope to God that was like a Twitter post that got cut up so that it would fit in there, but I really don't think that's the case.
But I mean, like I said, like, most of these people who are quote-unquote fanboys don't even read the series. They see the Dark Knight movies, and they're like, oh God. This isn't... Or they're the people who walk into the comic book store, and they're looking around, and they're like, oh, I love Nightcrawler. I wonder if he has a comic. And you're like, you wonder if he has a comic, but you love Nightcrawler? Are you fucking kidding me? I don't know how many times I'm in the comic book shop talking to Jeremy, and all of a sudden these, like, people walk in, you know what they look like. They're like the preteen... Like, we know everything vibe. They walk in, and they're like, oh, look at Batman. He looks so gay. Like, are you... What? I want to punch them, but I can't. It just pisses me off to no end. And then it just happens every week. There's someone who comes in who's like, do you have the original Batman #1? And Jeremy's like, what?
Like, I don't know, how big's your bank account?
Yeah, really?
I'll find it for you, but, I'm gonna have to take a hefty finder's fee on that one. That's right up there, like, some moron walking in. It's like, do you have the first issue of Action Comics? Because I really want to read that one where Superman, like, gets his cape.
Or it's the people who think, oh, the S on Superman's chest stands for Superman. No, it stands for hope, but good try.
Oh, man.
The bat on Batman's chest symbolizes his love for bats.
It's his way of always declaring Bat Day. Because, like, they're his favorite animal. He cuddles with them at night.
All the worst days are the free comic book days when, they have the slew of free comic books.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Every form of every person comes to the comic book shop just because it says free.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think the comic book shop was giving away free tickets to a pre-screen of the new that Ant-Man.
Right.
And people were calling the shop and being like, "Hey, can you hold the tickets for me?" He's like, "No, I can't hold the tickets. You have to come here." And he's like, "Oh, where are you?" "I just saw a Facebook post and I wanted them, so I'll be there in a few minutes." It's like, if you're not going to give the place the business, don't go. Don't get the free tickets. They're giving that to people who actually like comics and actually enjoy good movies from comic books. People really are pissing me off a lot more lately, especially because everyone's more vocal now. Everyone has an opinion out there. And here's me. I'm doing a YouTube channel, but yeah, I'm not on DC's Instagram going and arguing with people being like, "Oh my god, the new Batman is so bad. I'm gonna quit getting the whole series. I'm gonna stop getting all my DC comics." Like, that's not me. I wouldn't do that. People are just too vocal, and then if you try to disagree with them, they claim that you're attacking them and that you should be, killed or hanged.
Oh yeah.
It never fails. Go kill yourself. Like, oh, good comeback.
It is a nightmare. It really is. They do overreact, especially when you put them in their place, because they just spout off like morons.
My favorite one, I was on the Gotham, the TV series Gotham's Instagram, just looking at the pictures, because sometimes they post pictures.
Right.
And I just scrolled down, and all of a sudden I see, because Barbara in the in the TV series is different from the one that's in the comic books. And you know how this one takes place when Bruce is a boy and he's learning how to fight and stuff.
Right.
So this person's like, "Oh, when is Barbara going to become Batgirl?" It's like, wrong Barbara. Barbara is the child of Jim Gordon, not the wife or the girlfriend. And that was so stupid to me that I just had to close my phone and lie down and cry. It was too much. And that's why I hate it when companies, they put a TV show, or even, no matter how good the TV show is, now you're getting all walks of people watching the show, and most of them don't understand anything. They just know the Batman from Dark Knight or the old Batman movies from the 80s. They don't actually know Batman like you and me and all the people who actually read the comic books do, and why Jim Gordon actually works to be Batman. And it's a tough world for us.
I tell you, man, the two worst things have come together, and that's Fanboys and social media. I wish there was just like a giant eraser and I could just rub that shit out from history. There needs to be like a machine, like a metal detector at the airport. You walk through and it rates your fan level. If you go above the red line, it's like, nope, he's too enthusiastic. Decapitate him. What? Like, well, I'm sorry. This machine clearly states that at some point you're going to lose your shit over your favorite thing, and someone's going to get stabbed in the eye with a statue. We can't risk that. You got to go. I'm sorry. Don't worry. We will clone you and teach your clone how to be a proper human being with empathy and sympathy and good nature to them. Don't worry. Your legacy will live on. Not really. Go die.
And to all the people who are saying there's too much dialogue in the Batman comics now, did you not? And they're praising the original like Court of Owls storyline. Did you not know that there was a whole page of dialogue in the Court of Owls one? There has not been a full page of dialogue in Batman.
I'm sorry. If you're bitching about dialogue in a comic book, then
they're just pulling shit out of their asses just to make people pissed off, and it's just not nice. It's not nice at all.
No, it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit. It's right back to the social media. Everybody, I get the feeling that people want comic books to be like, you can read the whole thing in like 3 minutes flat. You know what I mean? Like a quick sample off of Twitter or something.
Yeah, like a kiddie comic book that doesn't have any words, just pictures and a few lines of dialogue.
I swear, if people are bitching about the amount of reading they have to do for Batman, then stay the fuck away from Vampirella, because you'll never get through a book. On average, that book seems to have around like 10 pages of written dialogue.
Right.
It's a long read. It's good. I enjoy it. But if you're bitching about Batman, I'm sorry. Batman has never had that much dialogue. If I don't give a shit about the art, I can clear a Batman comic in like 5 minutes.
Right.
It's amazing. I was worried about reaching the time limit tonight, but we're actually a minute past now.
Oh, no, not a minute.
I'm not worried about that. I just meant we got so worked up over the stupid shit. This turned into a full rant episode instead of the comic special.
I mean, the whole Batman thing it completely pisses me off, the way that people are talking about it. I cannot hold it in for any longer. I was saving it for this, too.
That is the point of our channel. Well, our podcast.
Rant. I was going to put it on my own one. I wanted to put it on the rant, because it is a rant, and I can rant for hours about this.
We'll have to do like our total special Christmas episode where it's like... we just have Christmas carols playing in the background, and you are just foaming at the mouth, ranting away. It'd be terrific.
I wonder if they're going to put out special Christmas comics again this year. Because they had a bunch of Christmas-themed ones for last year. Like the Harley Quinn special and the Red Hood
right.
Annual. That would be interesting.
It wouldn't surprise me if they did. Hell, at this point, it'd be like, it's Black Friday version.
The Red Hood and the Outlaws one was hilarious. Red Hood takes over as Santa, and Starfire's like guiding the sleigh, and Arsenal's shooting his bow and arrow for the present. It was great. I thought that was hilarious, and it was supposed to be one of those kind of quirky, fun comics. It was funny.
Well, that is the right time to do it. If you're going to do a special, you make it applicable.
Put it on an annual.
And I'm sorry?
Put it on an annual, not a actual.
Yeah. Exactly. It is always a little weird when you're reading the normal storyline, all of a sudden it changes into this weird bullshit that has no place in there, and it completely takes you out of the main line, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? Was that supposed to be like a dream sequence? Was somebody hammered? I'm so lost.
Well, they did that for Action Comics. They had this really serious line going, and it ended, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, we have our special Bizarro issue. And it was like, what?
Have you noticed how many annuals they're doing, though, for a lot of comics now?
Oh, it's like 2 a year for Batman now.
Yeah, you can't really call it an annual if you do it more than once, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you
just call it the bi-monthly special.
The bi-monthly, yeah.
Oh, God.
I think they try to put an annual in with every storyline. So, like, with the Endgame storyline for Batman, they had the annual about how the Joker became the new and improved final Joker for the series. And then they had the annual for Super Heavy, which went back to Bruce Wayne finding out and kind of doing some detective work on Mr. Bloom. And for Detective Comics, they had, for Zero Year, they had one where he was kind of, learning the Arkham Asylum. He's in Arkham Asylum for some reason, trying to figure something out during the 0 year. And
right.
I mean, they do relate, but I mean, do you really need one for every single go? Like, at least with the Dark Knight run for the New 52, the annual was like, it wasn't like great, but it had its own story in it. It wasn't coming off of a different one.
Right, right. It was actually worth reading.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's worth reading, but it wasn't the same.
Ouch.
As the Dark Knight run was great, except for the end, the last two comics, and the annual they had. It was perfect up until those two, or three, I should say. Because they canceled the series, and the writers weren't planning on it, so they had to make a quick ending, like they did with Superior Iron Man. So
could be worse. Could have been what they did to the new Thor. That actually didn't really have an ending. It the reveal about who the woman who's the new Thor was the last issue, and then they put out an annual, and then that's it. There hasn't been anything else since. Well, I mean, I'm not counting all of the shit attached to Secret Wars, because to be honest, Secret War is kind of annoying me a little bit at the moment.
Just keeps
it's
going.
Not as exactly. It's not nearly as bad as the DC shit, Convergence, because that was just all over the fucking place. But
I don't even know why they did it.
I'll tell you right now why they did it. They needed the sales.
They lost a lot of money. Even though they revitalized some of the old series, it wasn't the same. So you bought the Flash stuff. It wasn't just the Flash from the old days. It was the Flash from the old days converging with
yeah,
Superman
that actually
from
really upset me.
Red Sun, and it's okay, this is
really
I just want the old ones, right? The old
ones. Yeah, I wanted them to when they put out the multiple Flash books for that, and the one had Wally West, which is my favorite Flash in there, and there was that glimmer of hope for a second. I'm like, are they bringing him back? Are they bringing back the Wally West? This is gonna be so awesome. Multiple Flash books. I thought this is awesome. No, he was just there for those two books, and that was it. It was a total waste.
And then they're from the worldly popular Convergence series. Then they spun off 3 different main comic book series now, like Telos and that. And it's I don't even want to read that stuff. I'll read the new Batman Beyond because Future's End was actually readable, but Convergence wasn't anywhere near readable. I gave up on that after the first wave. I was I ain't buying anymore. And then I sold all the ones I had. I was just take them. I brought them to half-price books. I was take these, please. I don't care how much you give me. So if you go there, you'll find my comic books, and you'll be oh, look at that.
They were so bad, you didn't want to put them back into the comic book stream. You're I'm going to take them somewhere where they can't get back into the public.
Yeah, I took them out of their boards and bags. I was so disappointed. Usually I keep them in there. You know what?
Ouch. Yeah.
I took them out. That's the ultimate death sentence.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. When you don't even respect it enough to keep it in a bag and board, that is bad. Well, I think if we don't end now, we are going to just keep going until, the dawn.
Part 2.
Exactly. Part 87, the rant continues. Well, this has been The Rant. This has been our special comic issue. Let us know what you thought in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and like and, well, I guess dislike if you truly hated us, but come on, man, we try. Josh, I feel like you should tell them about your channel, because your channel is such a nice place.
I do work very hard on my own channel, and this one. I have a few series going on my channel called Jarsh's Opinion. I have Jarshcast, which is my podcast there, where I go into more detail about certain things, like video games, comic books, real life, you know. I also have 3-second reviews, which are just kind of like 2-worded reviews, short, sweet, to the point. Even though the whole main series is done, I still upload a few every week or so. And then I have a brand new series called Video Game Reviews, where I put all my soul into reviewing a video game and giving it an adequate rating. So if you want to know about Call of Duty Black Ops, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, or Guitar Hero Live, they are on my channel now.
Very nice.
Take it away, Robert.
Well, now that you've plugged your channel, I have to plug ours. It is a labor of love, after all. We are The Rant. We have our normal podcast that goes up every other week. We do live gameplay streams on Saturdays and occasionally throughout the week if there's free time. And we also have 5-minute reviews done by yours truly. And one of our other really kick-ass series brought to you by Josh, Versus. Check it out, people. These are good shows. You gotta give them a look-see. And please, subscribe, comment, like. Please don't dislike. We try really hard. This has been The Rant. Thank you for listening.